Hi, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Susan. We're going to make a recipe today that really originated here in St. Louis. It was either a mistake because of ingredients that were mismeasured, or there's a lot of stories about it. But we're going to make a gooey butter cake, which St. Louis is known for. So a few ingredients. So this really takes very, very minor shopping. A yellow cake mix, butter, eggs, cream cheese, and powdered sugar. Now, we're going to start with a yellow cake mix, just a regular cake mix. And if you want to do it by scratch, just reflect back to my last video, and it'll walk you through how to do a yellow cake mix by scratch. Very, very easy. But for this one, a couple of things you need to do ahead of time. You want to set out your eggs so they are at room temperature. You want to set out your sticks of butter so that they are at room temperature, and your cream cheese. So you want to make sure that they're easy to blend. This first section we're going to use a stick of butter, and we're going to use 2 eggs. Now the stick of butter is at room temperature, so it's much better to start cutting those in. You have to do this by hand. So this part of the recipe, you're actually going to work that butter into your cake mix. Sounds harder than it really is, but it does take a couple of extra minutes. So you want to take your time, kind of get that butter well mixed. Once you get it kind of mixed in, then go ahead and add your eggs. But you want to kind of make sure that this is going to work well, because this is going to be the bottom of your gooey butter cake. So this recipe works well if you are going to have a brunch and you want to serve a coffee cake type item, or for a dessert. It carries well if you want to cut it ahead of time and take it in a server for an event or a holiday. We like it, whether it be morning with coffee or whether it be as a dessert. Once you get those eggs mixed in, you can really see that it's kind of turning into a thick mixture, which again is going to be the base of the gooey butter cake. So the next step is to use a 9 by 13, and I like using a pottery type 9 by 13 dish. You can use a regular glass dish, or you can use a metal 9 by 13. All of them work well. They actually turn out a little different if you use pottery to where you use a metal cake pan. The pottery tends to make the gooey butter cake straight across and very uniformed, whereas in some of the other pans you get kind of a crust on the edge of it. And we'll show you that once we get all done, kind of what it should look like. So we got it really well mixed. So next step is we are going to spray the 9 by 13 pan. So when you're working with kind of a heavy, thick batter, I'm going to show you a little bit about getting that spread through and getting it spread so that it's pretty uniform at the bottom. So I'm going to use a spatula, but I'm going to spray the back side and a little bit on the front side of my spatula too, so that my mixture doesn't kind of get stuck. It's easier to spread using it this way, and you might have to add a little second spray halfway through. Take your batter and start in the middle of the pan. So if you start in the middle, then you can stretch it out to your edges and really kind of get a good base for your recipe. Now this recipe, again, simple, easy, takes about 35 minutes to bake. Some people like it served warm. I like it served cold. I actually like to put it in the refrigerator and serve it from right out of the refrigerator. So kind of depends on how you like to eat your desserts. We can take a variation or two of it too that we can talk about. Maybe in the fall, adding a little bit of pumpkin to it. It'd be kind of fun. And we're just going to spread this out. We're going to get it pretty much all the way to all of the edges. We're going to move through. because the next batter that we're going to make is really the gooey part that everybody likes. So as we get this to the edges, it's going to be a little bit rough. It's not going to be absolutely perfect, but it is best if you get it to the edges of your pan. Using a spatula is probably the easiest way to do this. You might use, a wooden spoon or something like that. Doesn't matter. Just so you can kind of achieve this good layer of mixture. So we kind of have it in the pan. We're kind of going to straighten this out just a little bit. I'm kind of that uniform person that wants it as perfect as we can get it. But if it's not, it's still great. So don't fret. So the next part of this, and we're just going to set this aside for a minute. Make sure you've preheated your oven. We want to preheat at about 350. And it's going to take, as I said, about 35 minutes to bake, but you're going to check it. So I usually set my timer for a few minutes before that so that I can really make sure that I'm not overcooking a dessert. The next step we're going to take is 2 eggs and a box of powdered sugar. Now, if you buy the big bags of powdered sugar, it's about 32 ounces. This is about 16 ounces. And I keep a little bit of this in reserve. You'll see it kind of over here. If you have powdered sugar at home already, use the whole box. Take a scoop out of your own supply. And we're going to use that for the top of the gooey butter cake. So let's take a full box of powdered sugar. Let's take an 8-ounce pack of the cream cheese, and again, room temperature, and 2 room temperature eggs. So this you can use a mixer for. That section you can't. So you're going to use your mixer, and you're really going to get, just a golden, great mixture here that's going to go on the top of what you just put in your 9x13. I'm going to put this on top because if you don't or put your hand on it, I'm doing this backwards, so we could have a little bit of a powdered sugar explosion. Yeah, we still got a little bit. So this just takes a couple minutes to actually whip up. And it's really going to be very smooth. You're going to pour it on the top of this. And that's what really makes that sweet, yummy taste that we talk about in a gooey butter cake. I use large size eggs also. Extra large eggs sometimes makes your recipes a little bit runny. So you want to be cautious on using the right size eggs. Look at that. Oh gosh. Yeah, that is exactly what you want this to look like. You want it to be that gooey, sweet top cream. So we're going to take this all off of here because I want every drop. Yeah, don't lick the knife or the batter or that. You always want to when you're a kid, but you got some raw eggs in here. So as tempting as it is, don't. All right, so we've got the top part. And when you get in here, you might have a little bit of extra powdered sugar in there. You can either kind of spoon that in. You don't have to. But you want to make sure you got a really good mixture here. So I'm going to pour that in the middle too. I'm going to kind of go down a little bit as I'm doing it. So I'm getting a good line of the gooey butter topping. Because we're going to spread this all the way out. So we're going to take it all the way to the edge of our pan. So you got a gracious amount here to work with. Now, we had several people ask about recipes. Would I share a recipe with them? Some of the things are things I cook for work or cook for events. And really the one that came up a lot was this. And second was the dressing recipe for plank road pizza. So guess what? We're not going to do that one on video. That one is something that we keep near and dear to us. That is a recipe that we had as a family and worked through for a bigger scale for when our son opened the restaurant. So here we go. We are going to take this all the way to our edges. So as you can see, it's really kind of a thick mixture, but really works well just by working it out to the edges. If you like gooey butter cake with that extra crust on it, you might stay inside from the edge just a little bit. We prefer to have it all the way across. So, and again, like I said, different pans will cook a little bit differently. A pottery type pan really cooks from the middle out. So you get kind of a great texture. And you can't go wrong. No matter what pan, no matter what you do, no matter how you spread it in here, it's all really, really good. So after we get this spread through, we're gonna take it to a preheated oven, again, 350 degrees. I'm gonna cook it on the middle rack. So that middle rack helps ensure that you're starting to see the browning once it's ready to come out at the edges. And we're gonna watch that a little bit. So we're gonna take the pan, we're going to put it in. Again, just double check your temperature. We want it to be right. We want to set our timer for about 33 minutes, then check it. Then if you need to keep it in 2 or 3 more, might need a little bit more than that. We want to make sure that when it's ready, you're going to see the great, and this one's really warm, the great brown edges on the gooey butter cake. So you can see the interior is really set well. The exterior has kind of a nice brown, not overdone, but a little bit of that crunch on it. So now I'm gonna top it. And you can top it when it's hot. I like to top it when it's a little cooler so that my powdered sugar doesn't melt. I've had this for 100 years, and I say that lovingly, but I think it's been that. And it's just a powdered sugar sifter. And I'm gonna give it a good heavy amount of powdered sugar. So I'm gonna get a good sprinkle on it. Now this recipe you can use as a gooey butter cookie too. Sometimes Andrew will do those for Kettleville Cookies and Cream. He will do a gooey butter cookie, and gosh, are they good. Recipe pretty much stays the same. There you really want to make sure you're using large eggs, not extra large. So here we go. Let's cut a piece and see. So if I were going to serve this for a holiday, maybe, or brunch, maybe I would use sprinkles that added that little touch. They've got the real cute little flowered sprinkles too that you could use for a shower or a brunch. I'm going to cut a little piece. Wow. Here we go. It's exactly what you should get. Came up very easily to cut. Make sure you cool it a little bit before you're cutting it. If we were going to add some sprinkles on it, you could see the little variation of how it would show. It'd be a cute little dessert to take someplace for a holiday. But really, this is about the perfect texture, perfect consistency of crust to the top that we're looking for. If you have any questions, we will post the recipe, a link to it, so that maybe you want to take it on your next event. Thanks.